Now it's a pleasure as always to welcome the Minister of Sports, Mr. Nathi Mthethwa, live to Sport at Prime tonight. Mr. Mthethwa, thank you very much for your time as always. So wonderful to have you on to the show tonight. We'll bring you up shortly. There we are. Thank you very much for your time. Mr. Mthethwa, before we get stuck into bio bubbles and the PSL and netball and SA rugby and everything else, I do want to start with women, please. You opened your address today speaking about the women of South Africa, recognizing that it is indeed August. It is Women's Month here in South Africa. You spoke about the fight against unequal power relations. I wanted to know from your perspective, are you happy with what you've seen from a sporting perspective around the fight against gender? Do you feel that women are, equally shown here in South Africa to have everything that the men have in their terms?
Not at all, Mark. I think that we still have a long way to go in affirming what women have shown to be capable of. The women of our country, especially from the sport point of view, have asserted themselves. If you look at what is happening with netball, for instance, if you look at the women's rugby, if you look at other aspects of women, like in football and so on, they have nothing more to prove themselves, except that the patriarchal power relations in our society has to be attended to, both as government and as society, because for any sporting activity to survive and be able to withstand whatever challenges, it needs support, it needs resources and so on. So we are, as you know, that we threw our support behind the formation, for instance, of the league, the women's football league and so on. And we'll continue with other sporting codes. But I'm saying that it will need the buy-in of all in our society.
Mr. Mthethwa, should female footballers in South Africa perhaps feel hard done by that there was so much effort being put into the resumption of the PSL and the Nedbank Cup that's starting this weekend, yet seemingly the Women's League was cancelled because of COVID-19 without a further match being played?
Of course, that's why I was saying to you that you would need all in our society to come together, because resources are quite critical. If you have, for instance, the private sector coming to the party, the public sector, you will eventually get to the point where women are equally recognized like men in sport. But you'll also know, Mark, that when it comes to women football, it's not very old. You look at the leagues around the world, whether in China or Spain or wherever, they are not as old as the leagues of men. What is important is that when that has started, we need to put our heads together to ensure that we forge ahead in supporting women in sport.
Mr. Mthethwa, today you announced some updates to the COVID relief fund, and I believe that 61 million rand to date has been disbursed to beneficiaries. So congratulations and thank you. I have no doubt South Africans will be saying to you and your department. In fact, we're now entering the second phase where I believe 77 million rand will now be put aside to try and assist those that have been affected most by COVID-19. But according to the rationale of the expanded public works program, it works out to roughly, you said today, 95 to 100 rand a day. Would South Africans perhaps feel hard done by that, perhaps, to suggest that 95 to 100 rand a day seems to be the going rate?
Well, look, Mark, and I would like you to also make this point anywhere else. For 100 million, you can go so far. And if you want to ensure that as many people as possible get a slice of the pie, definitely there would be limitations. So we shouldn't talk as if there are abundant resources which are already out there. We are trying to make do with what we have, and what we have, we want it to be expanded as much as possible. That is one. But the 100 rands, 95 rands per day we are talking about, we are trying to focus anything from 3 to 6 months rather than a 1 month, a few weeks thing, as it were. So you should look at that from the broader perspective of what we are trying to do in whatever limited resources we have.
Mr. Mthethwa, this weekend is going to be a very big weekend, a celebratory weekend as football comes back to our television screens. Unfortunately, fans won't be able to attend those matches. They will be played behind closed doors, but the fact that football returning is a positive note for South Africa that can do with some good news. Are you concerned at all about the resumption of football? Do you have any COVID-19 concerns, or are you confident that this bio bubble, the resumption of the league, will all be done safely?
No, we are extremely confident. We were confident with the plan of football as PSL, together with its mother body SAFA, were able to provide us with such. But we were not 100% sure. We had to go through the process of the health authorities, which they gave it thumbs up, and it's all systems go, because the bio bubble has been dubbed as one very important measure in ensuring that we are safe in the resumption of sport, football in this instance. So we are looking forward. I mean, fans are going to see their favorite clubs, and it was important that we resumed sport, especially football in this instance, to complete the season so that South Africans know who is the champion.
Mr. Mthethwa, you mentioned today that 46 sporting bodies have received approval to resume activities. 2 of the federations that were mentioned today were netball and rugby. We see no netball and rugby resuming just yet, I beg your pardon. 2 very proud federations, 2 very proud sporting codes, and 2 very big sporting codes when it comes to South Africa as well. Can you perhaps please provide an update for us just as to where the resumption details around netball, the World Cup hosts of 2023, and rugby currently are in South Africa?
We are considering both rugby and netball, as we did with football, and if they meet all the requirements, they will go through. And we're confident with what we've seen as prepared by these federations. We are confident that they will make it to the cut, and health authorities will see it the way we see it ourselves. So it's the plans are afoot, and we will continue to be seeing and looking at other sporting codes, especially now, because remember, the first round was more on the non-contact sport. Now that we are dealing with contact sport, we would want to see the plans in place, properly, prepared, so that we are able to share it with health, our counterparts in health.